competitive in that fight, but wasn't winning rounds. Well, wasn't effective, especially. So he's got his hands full here tonight as well, and we're underway in round number 1.
Yeah, first thing I notice is DeLomba's midsection is a little soft looking, and he keeps his hands up real high, meaning his elbows are up high, which means that body is open. And if Mielnicki's smart, he's going to go to that soft area that I'm seeing right there.
Yeah, made weight, though, as he comes in against welterweight fight. Vito Mielnicki saying that he learned a lot after losing that one professional fight to James Martin earlier in the year. He said, I'm looking on my list, and I'm always in the top 25, under 25. He said, a new list comes out, I'm out of the top 25. You learn they can drop you fast.
That's right. He can get right back into the top 15 by doing stuff like that.
Good right hand there, and he followed up with a left hook to the body.
Mielnicki looks stronger. He looks more mature. He looks very focused. This is what's going to happen. He's going to grow into the sport. He's going to be a dangerous guy. I mean, he looks it right now. He looks great.
Yeah, the jab is nice and sharp. He's looking good. And I like those trunks. Those are Christmas touch.
Right? Right. And the other thing is, we all three know DeLomba is a very capable guy. He's a good counter puncher. He's tough. He can take a shot, give one. He's smart. He's experienced. So, Mielnicki manhandles him. This is a huge feather in his cap.
Joe, what do you think about guys that do the earmuffs with the defense? Or do you guys like the guys that move their heads?
Well, some guys can get away with it. I mean, like, remember Winky Wright used to use the earmuffs?
Yeah.
Man, he never moved his hand, and he was a great junior middleweight champion, southpaw. But, a lot of guys use that.
Well, ideally, you do the peekaboo stance, and you keep your hands up and you move your head.
Yeah.
You fought a guy like that once, Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah.
But that, your best, it's brutal. You stop moving your head, it's very different.
The difference with Mike Tyson has a 20-inch neck.
Yeah. It's fairly explosive.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly. And I do. 1 minute to go. Round number 1. Good jab being showcased so far by Vito Mielnicki as the chants go out here in New Jersey.
I really like Mielnicki's jab right now.
Yeah. And the good thing is, Len, is it's a 10-round fight. I don't know if you remember your first 10-round fight. There's got to be a little trepidation about, when to use energy, when not to use energy. And I like the way he's pacing himself in this first round.
Yeah, when he goes back to the corner, I'm sure they're going to tell him to focus on the body a little bit more. Yeah.
DeLomba so far with very little offense. I mean, he's looking at Mielnicki. He's trying to move out of the way, but he's really not trying to force himself on Mielnicki at all.
Right. Remember, he said, I think at one point, he said he wants to drag Mielnicki into the deep waters of the late rounds. So maybe that's a ploy on his part right now.
He also wants to see what Mielnicki's going to come with so he can counter with. So he's really just figuring him out in this first round and seeing what Mielnicki has.
He's getting cuffed a little bit. His face is already kind of marked up a bit. Took that cuffing right hand, landed in that first round 9-1. Mielnicki was credited with 2 jabs landed. That surprises me.
Well,
it seemed like he landed more than that.
Well, look, he's just thrown 3 or 4 of them. If they're touching the guy's gloves and he's parrying them in a sense,
right? That's not a scoring shot. Right. I just thought he found face a lot more.
I think the right hand. Look at the left side of DeLomba's face, and you can see that it's absorbed a lot of right hand so far.
Yeah, if I was in Mielnicki's corner, I would be telling him to go hit him with a right hand, and start throwing some body punches.
Exactly.
DeLomba moving green trunks, first time in a main event, fighting just miles from his home in Roseland, New Jersey. Nicholas DeLomba coming in out of Providence. Big fan of Vinny Paz, of course. Peter Manfredo Jr. as well. He started boxing after watching The Contender. Final 40 seconds of round number 2. I mean, Lennox, he's walking in. There's kind of a token jab, but I'm waiting for... You can't walk right to Mielnicki and not get hit. You got to throw something on the way in.
Well, you got to remember, he's been out of the fight game for 2 years, and this is basically his first fight back, and he's up against Mielnicki, a young, fiery lion in there. He wants to really go in there and win. He's in front of his hometown.
Well, the work rate has been there with the jab. He has thrown nearly 100 jabs so far. He's only given credit for landing 8. But you're right, that jab has controlled this fight through 2 rounds.
He's kind of peppering him, He's doing that artist thing again, stroking with that jab, 50
jabs around. I mean, those 2 rounds, he got 100 jabs thrown. So that work rate's very impressive. He's not landing much, or he's not giving credit for landing, but he's throwing.
Now what he needs to do is run some combinations off of that. Jab, jab, left, right to the body, then come back to the head. This is the chance where he can actually practice his combinations, because DeLomba is the perfect opponent for this.
Yeah, he'll try to block, and counter, but you keep his blocking busy by rattling off the combinations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you rattle up the combinations to the head, because he's really protecting his head more.
Right.
That's when you bring them to the body.
DeLomba has those hands up high. His face tries to feint there, and a jab, but he's countered immediately. And now Mielnicki goes to the body and to the head. Savage combinations. Hard body shots. DeLomba folded over in half. He laughs. He's not moving.
Mielnicki needs to take a step back just to give himself some punching room.
DeLomba's going to have to move. He can't stay there. Getting mauled now by Mielnicki.
That counter right hand that started that whole thing off, actually Mielnicki did that to him in the last round. He better be careful not to, shoot all of his power out, or all of his energy out in this one round here. If DeLomba's the type of guy who could stay around for 10 rounds.
Mielnicki letting it all hang out, getting warned there. Eric Dolly there, warned him. Mielnicki got throwing so many uppercuts and hooks now. Throwing shots showing a lot of creativity. A lot of time left in this round. Minute plus. Hit there to the head, and then
one time last round, 2 times this round. Like that.
Sharp right hand.
That's that counter right hand that's been working for him. Now he's got to switch over to the body with the left hand. He's working the right side. Get over to the other side now and hit that liver. That's where he can really drop the guy when he's got his hands up.
Now the right hand, he tries to probe that guard and split it by throwing the uppercut.
Well, Mielnicki has to really step over to the side or the other side. He's in front of DeLomba right now.
Yeah, I don't know if it matters too much, because he's in total control wherever he's out of this guy right now. But I just think he's taking his foot off the gas here a little bit. It doesn't mean you have to go crazy with the combinations, but he should still be working more than just looking for that one counter shot. He should press him a little bit here and try to hit the body, get to the body a little bit.
Final seconds, round 3. I tell you, I'm surprised he's still standing. DeLomba has been only stopped once in his pro career. Electrifying combination, and you thought maybe I got to get this guy out of here and save him.
Well, that's the great veteran referee Eric Dolly, who knows what he's doing. He knows what he's looking at, and he knows the 2 fighters in the ring, and he knows the fact that DeLomba is a tough guy, and that he's been in with some veterans, and he'll be able to survive that. He knows when enough is enough. And
he came out firing. I just want to get this out. He came out firing this round, so I've been kind of slagging him a little bit, saying, "Hey, you got to throw something." And you see the power punches landed. It's a wide discrepancy, but to DeLomba's credit, he came out firing this round.
Yeah, but DeLomba, anytime he does fire, he's getting hit. So he's being
what's the alternative?
Sparingly with his punches, because he knows when he tries to throw a punch, he's getting hit on the counter.
That's how he got the whole thing started in that previous round. Lennox, you're right, when he opted to throw, but really there's no alternative. You can throw, you can dance, you can run, and you got to do something.
I see DeLomba used a few little veteran tricks in there. He kind of gave a little shove with the shoulder and forearm on Mielnicki, bumped him off there, and then when the ref was on one side, on the other side, DeLomba threw a right hand, towards the hip area, below the hip. He knows what he's doing. And he's trying to, do anything to slow Mielnicki down, because Mielnicki's just steamrolling him right now in every which way.
And in a calm sense, too. I mean, he's relaxed. He's not expending a lot of energy. So he's got a lot left in the tank, even though it's his first 10-rounder. DeLomba has gone 10, but you can see clearly who the fresher Springer fighter is. It's the 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, and see, Mielnicki, he threw a nice punch there on the ropes and then made a turn like that, but grabbed onto DeLomba. He doesn't always have to do that. You don't have to do that. Sometimes, right in there, go ahead, work a few punches, do a little damage before you make that spin move and get out. Do a little damage first.
DeLomba had told us, look, I've fought grown men. I've been through wars. I've overcome adversity. He said, I've been dropped and I've come back to win. And there's a difference. He emphasized that. I've come back to win after getting dropped. He got badly hurt in round 3, but he came out firing in the 4th round and is trying to make a fight of this.
Mielnicki's balance is a little off center, especially when his moving forward, you can see he's bending over a little bit. What he needs to do is stay a little bit more straight up. Obviously with his chin down.
Let's go, Fox. Final 30 seconds, round number 4. Scheduled for 10. This is the main event. Doubling up on the right hand is Mielnicki. Flashes out a jab and a counter right. Nice landed right hand from DeLomba.
Yeah, this is the thing. He's going to eyes on the little momentum he had going last round.
Well, you have to inspire the guy in some way, right? Nelson Rodriguez leading the charge in there. They were yelling at DeLomba in there because, right, what's your only chance to have success here tonight? And you saw a glimpse of it, brief glimpse of it in the last round. Not an awful lot, but if there's any chance, Lennox, your thoughts on their reaction to him?
Yeah, what they want to do is get Mielnicki tired, and so they could take advantage of him because they've already said they want to bring him into the deep end, and that's because really what they're doing, they're not really punching, they're just getting close to him and allowing Mielnicki to throw his punches. And hopefully, down the stretch, he's going to get a little tired, and they're going to get a little closer to him and be able to hit him.
Let's get more now with Ray Flores. He's there in the corner. Ray, what did you hear?
Thank you very much, Brian. Well, what I'm hearing that Nelson Rodriguez is telling Nicholas DeLomba they feel that Vito Mielnicki Jr. is getting tired. They said, do you want this or not? Make it a dogfight. Back to you, Brian.
Right, good stuff. Yeah, look, that's just one chance. I don't know how tired Vito is getting, but you got to give him something. Good body shot by Mielnicki.
Yeah, and Vito had a great little rally on the ropes before he landed that body shot in the middle of the ring. What he did, he went right uppercut, left uppercut, right uppercut, left uppercut to the body. And that's what he's got to do. He's got to have some confidence and just relax on the inside. You can do a lot of damage on the inside, especially when you've only got one or two things working for you from the outside. You may want to try some new stuff. Get in close, put your hands up, and rely on your training.
Good popping.
See, like that, right in there. See, you don't always have to wrestle when you get next to a guy on the inside.
DeLomba getting away from that right hand and able to back up. By the way, Mielnicki did a lot of sparring with Richardson Hitchens for this fight. Said he's known him his whole life. He's out of Brooklyn. And Hitchens, again, the last guy to fight DeLomba, and outpointed DeLomba rather easily. But you can see Mielnicki, you can see him almost boxing. Imagine him boxing Hitchens. You must be calm. You can't just bum rush that guy. You've got to box and try to control distance.
But I would say Hitchens is the complete opposite style of DeLomba.
Oh, yeah.
So he'd be great sparring if you're fighting a good boxer, puncher, mover. But for a guy like DeLomba, you want to get a guy that's going to crowd you and press you and get rough with you. And Hitchens isn't the guy, but it's great. You take sparring whenever you can get
great work. Right. I mean, it's high-level work, and you see a guy like that on a regular basis. As it looks like Vito Mielnicki now hammering a right hand.
That was a good right uppercut counter. And see, Vito's got to relax on the inside, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. He's trying to get out of town too fast.
Exactly. And you know, and it takes time to learn that. It takes time to feel comfortable with it.
And, you know, it's a situation where you just don't want to get hit. You don't want to get hit with a silly shot. You know, anytime you get hit, there's always a chance you may get hurt.
But you know, on the inside, at least you've got that feel. You can feel when stuff is coming, right? Yeah. I mean, on the outside is where you get all that.
Wrestling,
you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, so wrestling, throwing wild shots ain't working for you.
Yeah.
So you got to settle down.
At what stage of your career was that?
Halfway
through. So, and that's how many fights, basically?
I would say
25.
Yeah, 25.
Round number 6 scheduled for 10. Brian Kenny, Joe Goosen, Lennox Lewis, and Ray Flores here. Live on Christmas Day from Newark, New Jersey, Vito Mielnicki Jr. in the green trunks. Nicholas DeLomba in the multicolored trunks with the American flag there. I believe that's Italy on the other side. But it has been all Mielnicki here tonight through 5 rounds. 86-28 in punches landed, according to CompuBox.
Joe, I was going to say, to feel comfortable inside, boxing inside, you got to do that in the gym.
Yes.
You got to work that.
Right, you can't wait till the fight, obviously.
No.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine. I mean, David Tua. You're not going to get too comfortable with him on the inside.
No, I left the inside to him.
Yeah. Mielnicki now able to move laterally, stay out of danger from DeLomba. And DeLomba, again, not in the best condition. You can see right there, even though he's able to make weight. But coming up to 147, just a little softer and less springy than the 19-year-old kid. Again, Mielnicki, 19 years old, extremely young. Wouldn't have been long ago that he definitely would have been in the amateurs.
Joe, what's Mielnicki thinking right now?
I think he's probably following the game plan, which is, box this guy, and that would be what you would think the game plan would be. But now from my perspective, though, and the way I train, I've trained a lot of great guys that can box from the outside. But I also know this, that when you fight a guy like DeLomba, that you've got to do some damage to him and let him know, hey, just because you're coming at me, this isn't going to work out good for you. You're going to take some punishment from me on the inside. That's not what's being dished out right now. But I know what Mielnicki's doing. I've heard him from the outside already. I'll heard him again at some point.
Showing a lot of patience, but yeah, you wonder when is it time to step in and let me trade with this guy.
Well,
it's not like DeLomba has some incredible punching power that you need to be aware of.
Right. No, the time is when DeLomba gets to you and you decide that you have to grab onto him. Instead of doing that, go, okay, we're in close. Watch what I do. I got some, double little uppercuts. I'm going to drop back to the body, chop right hand. I'm going to bump you a little bit. I'm not going to grab on it. I'm going to keep my hands to myself and work you over and beat you at what you think is your game.
Plus, DeLomba has a high guard, high defense. And I know Mielnicki doesn't want to be hitting his gloves all the time. So what he needs to do is really mix up his punches, soft and hard. The soft punches can hit his gloves. The hard punches hit his body.
Right.
That was a right hand by DeLomba. Sweat went flying off Mielnicki's head. Good jab. That's not Nicholas DeLomba, but just to point out, he's 19 years old. He's still developing. He's still in new territory, even though Lennox, sometimes I think people out there, and I would too, say, hey, time to get this guy out. But got to be patient. You got to build to it.
Yeah, you got to be patient. Obviously, throw a couple shots in there that hurt him, knowing that, you can hurt him to the body. And when you hurt him to the body, you got to bring it upstairs.
DeLomba got rough in there. Tried to make something happen. Round number 7. Not a lot of time left. Scheduled for 10.
Work your hands free. No holding. Let him go. Pull that arm out. Work your hands free.
Good instruction there by Eric Dolly. They don't have to clutch. Joe, as you pointed out, that would favor Mielnicki. Get in there and throw. Stay in there.
Now, look, it eats up a lot of energy when you're wrestling from a defensive position, to tell you the truth. So, if you're the one who doesn't want to engage on the inside and you wrestle and throw a guy around trying to get rid of him, that takes a lot of energy. And like I say, it's almost best to do a little damage before you go. You'd be surprised how far that goes. And I know Vito knows it because he's sparred with some rough characters out in Los Angeles. You get a lot of pressure fighters out there, and he knows what it's all about. But it takes time to really actually start executing it as a pro.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Certain things that you don't recognize fast, you recognize them faster when you've had a lot more experience. It's like, oh, okay, I remember this is part of the fight. This is where I got to step it up.
Right.
That right hand landed right there, and you see how marked up DeLomba's face is right now. It's starting to swell up as well, but he's been popped. By the way, Mielnicki has thrown over 270 jabs in this fight. Just jabs. Over 400 punches.
And I bet you part of the problem or the damage is the jab that DeLomba's been receiving for the whole night.
Yeah, both sides of his face. Now, left side and right.
Make no mistake, Vito Mielnicki is a real athlete, and he is doing some really nice stuff against a grizzled veteran here who's only been stopped once in his career. That being said, he's only 19. He's only got 10 fights. This is an 11th fight. Fighting a 10-rounder in your 11th fight is a big step up mentally, physically, and in every other way. Would you say that, Alex?
Yeah, I would. I would say that, this is the time in the next couple of rounds is for Mielnicki to actually step it up a little bit.
Final 20 seconds, round number 7. Vito Mielnicki Jr. fires out a jab once again, extremely accurate, doubling up on the jab, just probing. But he is connected on 30 of the ball, right? So a low percentage in his accuracy, but he's thrown it out there and forcing DeLomba to keep those gloves up high and really neutralize his offense. Let's go back through this fight. Go back to the early going. Get Mielnicki active, throwing the jab and able to land a hand, a good hard right hand, and had that beautiful moment in the 3rd round where he was throwing multiple combinations and landing. Lennox, here's the 3rd round.
And here's the 3rd round. Mielnicki catching him with a sweeping right hand and a good body punch, couple body punches, peppering him with some uppercuts. Oh, there's DeLomba coming through with a great uppercut with himself, and he's looking. That's it.
Now see.
At all. You understand? Huh? Yeah. One more.
Abdul Salam is encouraging Vito in a way that he's not just going, hey, you're winning the fight, keep on doing what you're doing. I think he wants him to do more. I think he knows Vito's winning the fight. He's winning it handily. But I think Abdul's doing the right thing, encouraging him to do more, get more out of what you're doing in the ring, and have more of a variety of punches, and try to take the guy out. I think they'd love to see Vito take the guy out if he could. We're in the 8th round. We got 3 rounds left.
Part of taking the guy out is throwing body punches. In order to take the guy out, you can't just take him out with jabs. You got to take him out with combinations, body punches, head punches.
DeLomba is the one moving forward here as we start round number 8. Mielnicki able to probe with the jab, and a jab lands there from DeLomba. Brief moment of success. Mielnicki was a star here as a kid, and
Let's go, box.
4-time junior national champion as an amateur, 137 amateur wins. Turned pro at 17, though. Joe, and I know we've spoken about this, that it's not that he was winning senior amateur titles right at the Olympic trials level. Those are all junior. So a lot of this learning is happening as a professional because he turned pro so early.
This is his senior amateur career against pros, okay? Right. And it's a tough learning curve. That experience at the senior level and the amateurs where you're fighting in national tournaments and international tournaments, that's invaluable experience. Lennox, you went through it all that way, and you couldn't have probably had the success you had without it.
Everything helps. Experience helps. Longer time in the ring helps.
Yeah. And look at our previous fight. We had Rayjon Chance and Elon De Jesus. And, Chance has all these amateur wins. He's been to the national finals. And then De Jesus out of nowhere. It's like, wait a minute, there's a grown man I'm fighting. It's not going away. Same thing like DeLomba is not doing an awful lot here, but he's not going away on his own either.
Yeah. Well, he's not going away on his own or with the help of Vito right now. He's hanging in there. But in all fairness, too, everything that DeLomba normally does in his fights, we watch tape, we study these things before we come and watch the fights here. Everything that he does, like that counter right hand that he just tried to throw, none of it's working against Mielnicki. So you got to give Mielnicki props on being able to diffuse what DeLomba does well.
Joe, no question. Look, DeLomba prefers to be active. He averages 67 punches per round.
Right.
The welterweight average is only 56. Now, even compare that to Hitchens. When he fought Hitchens, who's an extremely elusive target, right? He averaged 44 per round. So even against a guy that is hard to hit, that usually takes the air out of the ball, he will throw more punches than he's throwing per round tonight.
If I was in Mielnicki's corner, I would say, this man hasn't hit you up the whole night. He hasn't hurt you the whole night. You took his best punch. This is the time to go after him.
What I liked is Mielnicki did go to the body a few times. Like that, right there again. That's good stuff. DeLomba, took it well because that thing landed right on the liver, and I know he's got a strong left hand. Mielnicki, I've worked with him. And, he's a strong kid overall. He's just going to get stronger. He's only 19. But, I like that he's working that in the later rounds right now. Maybe not as frequently as everyone wants, but I think enough like that right there, right hand.
Mielnicki really wasn't doing much of anything.
No, but I thought that he did throw some good, substantial left hooks to the body and got off some nice combination towards the end.
You said Mielnicki?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the punches landed by round, Joe, just to illustrate. I mean, you saw it like third round. You're talking 36 punches thrown, and even though a lot is being blocked, that was reasonably close in that last round.
Right. Now, here's the thing. In the corner, Nelson Rodriguez was really stressing the point that DeLomba's got to do something. He's basically saying you got to knock him out without saying it. You got to really let it go, let it loose. In other words, you need a knockout. You got to go to the body. Don't get tied up on the inside. So, it's desperation time in the DeLomba corner, and I can understand that. Mielnicki's been superb tonight. Beautiful from the outside, doing what he wants to avoid getting hit with any big shots from a guy who can land shots. We've seen him do it, like that little chopping right hand.
Yeah, right hand from DeLomba there. Can he build off that success? Looking to move forward, but he's finding jabs planted at his midsection as he moves in. And a right hand there tries to get a right hook to the body.
Yeah, Mielnicki threw a right hand to the body earlier in this round. Really got DeLomba's attention.
Yeah, let him fight out of that. Eric Daly's trying to do that, trying to let them box out of it and say, look, neither one of you is kind of holding, but you're both engaging in it.
Well, you
Fight on the inside.
Reaction when he got hit to the body. It was like he didn't like it.
Well, that was a nice little combo by Mielnicki, that double hook. And then, DeLomba responded by throwing 5-6 chopping right hands while he had his other left hand tied up.
Okay, this is solid work by Mielnicki. I think in your first main event, I mean, clearly in front of his hometown fans, Christmas Day, the whole thing, national TV. You want to be spectacular, so you'd like to close the show. Joey Spencer, by the way, looked like he's kind of going at a methodical pace, but you close the show and you can end it in spectacular fashion.
Boy, did he ever! That was a knockout for the ages. I'll tell you, that was a beautiful knockout. Now,
and that excites fans, Joe. I mean, that's kind of the point. It's like you build an audience. Maybe you start filling this place.
But he is older than Mielnicki. He's a little bit more mature, and he's probably got a little bit more power at this point. But give Mielnicki some time. Like I said, he's just out of high school a year and a half, so it's we're expecting a lot out of a young guy.
Right, age 19 season. Going to the body with the hook.
See, this is what he does. See, look, put your hands up. Don't grab. Right. Just close it up. Close up the middle.
DeLomba there with an uppercut. But now Mielnicki plants it down with a right hand to the body.
Talk about the balance as well, Joe, how important the balance is, especially in close.
5 seconds.
It's everything. Let's see right there. He didn't need to do that right there.
Everything is a craft. It's a skill sport.
So the other thing, though, too, Brian, is it depends on how young you start teaching them the inside game. Okay?
Well, here's a 19-year-old kid, round number 10, final round here, main event. Newark, New Jersey on Christmas Day. Vito Mielnicki Jr. in the green trunks. Nicholas DeLomba in the multicolored flag trunks. And he has been able to survive in this fight. Mielnicki throwing nearly 600 punches so far. His work rate has been there. And he's been able to hurt DeLomba, but really only in the third round.
Yeah, Mielnicki's done a heck of a job for a look. And the mental barrier of having your first 10-round fight. You
Not only first 10 rounds, first 10 round at home.
At home, too, with that added pressure. So, like I said, this has been, I think, a sterling performance with the caveat that they go back and look at this and correct and then add to what needed to be added to. And then this, by his 20th fight, 10 more fights from now, this will be a distant memory.
Absolutely.
Quick right hand there, just flailing across. Kind of touching DeLomba as it went by in the final 2 minutes here. Look, I mentioned this earlier. There is a learning curve even for a blue chipper.
Yeah.
Mielnicki's a blue chipper. He's 19. It's a good point. He's 19. Again, Spencer's 21. Rajon Chance is 21. Elvis Gomez is 24. DeLomba gets hurt. And into the corner.
There's that little tricky counter right hand he's been using all night now. Here's his opportunity to take him out if he stays.
Minute and a half left. DeLomba's hurt. Covering up. And Mielnicki closed the show on Christmas Day.
Yeah, he's got to get a little distance now. Don't crowd yourself.
A lot of time left. Minute plus. Rolls. Eric Daly stops it.
The corner stopped it.
You stopped the fight. Okay.
The corner stopped it.
Okay.
Wow.
What's the time?
Yeah, Daly stepped in, but he had seen the corner. They saw their man getting hurt.
So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you will be updated for our upcoming video. Stay safe and God bless.